Hi, boys and girls. It's Mrs. Stodds. This is Chewbacca, my little Shih Tzu. And today we're going to read to you chapters 46, 47, and 48 of Flora and Ulysses. The first part is a comic. So open up your book to page 153 and follow along with me with the comic. He flew because he was a superhero and he was coming to the rescue. He was cheering up Flora. William Spiver said that the universe was expanding. That means there will be more of everything. More cheese puffs, more jelly sandwiches, more words, more poems, more love, and more giant donuts. Maybe even gianter donut. Is gianter a word? It should be. Chapter 47, Flying Squirrels. Why, Flora wondered, did everything become silent when Ulysses flew? It had been the same in the giant donut, at least until everyone started screaming. It was as if some small piece descended. The world became dreamy, beautiful, and slow. Flora looked around her. She smiled. The sun was shining into the kitchen, illuminating everything. Ulysses' whiskers, the typewriter keys, her father's upturned and smiling face, and her mother's astonished and disbelieving one. Even William Spiver was illuminated, his white hair glowing like a wild halo. "What is it?" said William Spiver. "What's going on?" Flora's father laughed. "Do you see, Phyllis? Do you? Anything can happen." Ulysses floated above them. He zoomed down to the ground and then went shooting back to the ceiling. He looked behind him and performed a lazy mid-air backflip. "For the love of Pete," said Flora's mother in a strange and wooden voice. "Someone tell me something," said William Spiver. Ulysses dived down again. He flew past William Spiver's right ear. "Ag!" said William. "What was that?" "The squirrel," said Flora's mother in her strange new voice. "He is flying." She stood up suddenly. "Right," she said. "Okay, I have to go upstairs and take a nap." Which is an odd thing for her to say, because Flora's mother was not in any way a napper. In fact, she was an anti-napper. She didn't believe in naps at all. She often said they were a big, fat waste of time. "Yes, I need a little nap. That's what I need." Flora's mother walked out of the kitchen and closed the door behind her. Ulysses landed on the table next to the typewriter. "It's not that shocking," said William Spiver. "There are flying squirrels, you know. They exist. In fact, there are some theories that posit that all squirrels are descended from the flying squirrel. In any case, flying squirrels themselves are a documented fact." Ulysses looked at William Spiver, and then he looked over at Flora. He reached down a paw and hit a key on the typewriter. A single clack echoed through the kitchen. "How about flying squirrels who type?" asked Flora. "Not as well documented," admitted William Spiver. Ulysses hit another key, and then another. "Holy Bagumba," said Flora's father. "Time flies. He vanquishes cats. And he types." "He's a superhero," said Flora. "It's amazing," said her father. "It's wonderful, but I think I'd better go have a quick word with your mother about the whole, situation." Chapter 48, Banished. Click, clack, clack. Flora stood silently. William Spiver stood silently. The squirrel typed. "Flora Belle?" said William Spiver. "Uh-huh," said Flora. "I wanted to make sure you were still there." "Where else would I be?" "Well, I don't know. You did say you were moving out." "My mother wants me to leave," said Flora. "I don't know if that's exactly what she meant," said William Spiver. "I think she was surprised, and perhaps her feelings were hurt. She certainly didn't express herself very well. Shocking, really, that a romance novelist could be so inept at the language of the heart." Clack, clack, clack. Ulysses had a look of deep and supreme satisfaction on his face. "She said it would be easier without me," said Flora. "Yes, well," said William Spiver. He pushed his glasses back up his nose. He pulled up a chair and sat down again at the kitchen table. He sighed a deep sigh. "My lips are numb," said Flora. "I know the feeling," said William Spiver. "Having suffered through several traumatic episodes myself, I am very familiar with the bodily manifestations of grief." What happened to you? Asked Flora. I, I was banished. Banished. It was a word that Flora could feel in the pit of her stomach. A small, cold stone of a word. Why were you banished? I think the more relevant question would be, who banished me? Okay, said Flora. Who banished you? My mother, said William Spiver. Flora felt another stone fall to the bottom of her stomach. Why? She said. There was an unfortunate incident involving my mother's new husband, a man who is not my father, a man who bears an idiotic appellation, Tyrone. Where's your father? Said Flora. He died. Oh, one more stone sank to the bottom of Flora's stomach. My father, my real father, was a man of great humanity and intelligence, said William Spiver. Also, he had delicate feet, very, very tiny feet. I, too, am small of foot. Flora looked down at William Spiver's feet. They did seem extremely small. Not that that is particularly relevant information. In any case, my father was a man who could play the piano wonderfully well. He had an in-depth knowledge of astronomy. He liked to consider the stars. His name was William. But he's dead, and now my mother is married to a man named Tyrone, who does not have delicate feet and who is supremely unaware that there are stars in the sky. The mysteries of the universe mean nothing to him. He sold my father's piano. He is a man who refuses to call me William. Instead, this man refers to me as Billy. My name, as you know, is not now, nor has it ever been, nor will it ever be, Billy. I took issue with being so addressed. I repeatedly took issue. And after repeatedly taking issue and repeatedly being ignored, one thing led to another, and some irrevocable acts occurred. That means he couldn't take them back. And thus, I was banished. What led to another thing? Said Flora. What irrevocable acts occurred? It's complicated, said William Spiver. I don't want to talk about it right now. But as long as we are asking each other questions of the emotionally fraught nature, why did you say your mother wanted a lamp for a daughter? It's complicated, said Flora. I am certain it is, and I empathize. There was another long silence, punctuated by the clacking of typewriter keys. The squirrel is working on another poem, I suppose, said William Spiver. I guess, said Flora. It sounds like a long one, epic in nature. What in the world would a squirrel have to write about at such length? A lot happened today, said Flora. It was late afternoon. The shadows of the elm and the maple in the backyard entered the kitchen and flung themselves in purple lines across the floor. Flora would miss those shadows when she moved away. She would miss the trees. She supposed she would even miss William Spiver. And then, almost as if he were reading her mind, William Spiver said, I meant what I said. I'm here because I was looking for you. I missed you. Flora's heart, the lonely, many-armed squid of it, flipped and flailed inside her. She opened her mouth to say it didn't matter. Not really, not now. But as usual, what she intended to say to William Spiver and what she said were two different things. The sentence Flora intended to say was, it doesn't matter. The sentence she said instead was, have you ever heard of a place called Blundermecan? Pardon me, said William Spiver. He held up his right hand. I don't mean to alarm you, but do you smell smoke? Flora sniffed. She did smell smoke. Now there was going to be a fire on top of everything else? For the love of Pete. I hope you're enjoying our story, boys and girls.